Hey Guardians, how's it going? I bet all of you in the back of your mind have just one map in the Crucible that makes you go, this one? Well, today I'll be going over my personal top 5 worst maps in PvP to play in. Now, just a reminder that what I say in this video is purely my opinion. It isn't fact, and is not the end-all, be-all opinion that anyone should have on this matter. This is my list, and your list may differ. And that's okay. Also, don't take any of this seriously. I love this game, and even when I rag on it, there are still a lot of positives to these things. So, without further ado, let's get into my top 5 worst maps. Now, starting off, this map may come across as a bit controversial, so let me explain. For me personally, whether it is Trials of Osiris, Mayhem in a custom game, or just regular open control, this map is way too predictable, and I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from. You know for a fact where all the angles are for say, a perfect 140 hand-cannon duel, and if you were cognizant of your opponent and their loadout, you can probably guess what route they're going to take, what gun they might have when they fly around the corner, and all this shockingly average predictability makes this map pretty bland. Now, I know your counter-argument is, Terradiddle, you can apply that knowledge to every map. Yes, I know you can, but Burnout suffers from the same case that most of the maps we have today suffer from, and that is that because it's been around for so long, most engagements you will have will be pretty run-of-the-mill if you have the general perspective of the engagement range in your head, but of course, that's not the only reason. The spinning half circles in the middle don't really do anything. And 9 times out of 10, you will come around the corner and notice that the half circle either is or isn't there, and with the TTK times we face today, most engagements are done before it comes around and blocks your view of your opponent. This map, especially the spinning circles in the middle, was made with no movement-based skills in mind. If you know how to, say, use verticality to your advantage, most areas in this map with cover in them and the giant spinning circles are pretty pointless. Heavy also isn't positioned that great in this map. It's not something that you have to go out of your way to get. Chances are you are already running in that direction to engage, whether it is Trials, Supremacy, or Control, and you just pick it up along the way. It would be nicer to have an engagement to secure Heavy to make it that much more meaningful. Oh, and make the giant circle thing spin faster like it's actually trying to power that juicy laser in the center, and I'll remove this map off my list entirely. Bungie, if you had the cojones to remove all the places and maps that are associated with Mercury and got some maps in from, say, Europa and Neomuna, like we're gonna get later, I wouldn't have this bland-based opinion about this map or any of the other maps we've had for the last few years. If they actually just added in the maps that they were going to add earlier, this map wouldn't even be on this list. Unfortunately, though, when I think of maps that are overplayed and boring, this is the first map that comes to mind. The next map on the list also just barely got its foot in the door along with the rest of the Guardians that try to push him in. You see what I did there? Yeah, Cauldron isn't really my cup of tea. Let's talk about the space we are in. Cauldron has some pretty good places to be when you are trying to do area denial, but there is one room that nobody worries about, and that is Mothball. And I bet you half of you didn't even know what that room is called because you never go in there. It isn't a good flanking path as it spits you out next to either A or C flags on either side, which gets you gunned down pretty quickly. Sure, sometimes Heavy is in there, but do you go in there and take the wider angle to control, or do you just go in there, grab the Heavy, and get out? I know I sure do. On the other side of the map, you have the exterior, which is way too exposed on the prison platform side, and I mean no cover unless you're coming from prison, and not to mention that this is the worst door to approach middle from, as everyone is already eyeing you on the radar as you open it. And unlike other doors, there isn't a good place to take cover here and play mind games with your opponent, and if you disagree with me, then have fun being the first blood in the control match. Speaking of middle, this is definitely a type of map where if you hold middle, you control the game, and lopsided matches like this doesn't make the game all that fun. Now, I will say, I will give this map points for setting, as the depths of Hellmouth is a really cool place to fight and look at. If Bungie actually cared about the background for this map. That's right, do you see that? The geometry is off on the bridge in the background, and it means this map is horrible, and I hate it. Disagree with me? Then let me know down in the comments what you think. Let's move on. This next map goes to show what happens when a map creator has played too much old school Call of Duty and is trying to relive the glory days. Convergence is a map of all time, and you can find maps like Convergence on pretty much every AAA shooter. Arsenal from Black Ops 4, Convergence. Longest from Halo CE, Convergence. Dust 2 from CSGO, Convergence. Yeah, you guys see a trend? All of these maps have 3 lanes to go down, and if you think a bit harder, you can quickly think of other maps, even in Destiny 2, and even in the 2 maps I already listed that share this exact same trait. It makes the map bland. Sure, 3 main avenues are fine sometimes, but I'm just trying to ask that you make these maps more dynamic. Add a turn in it, devs, it won't be that bad. Now, because of how this map is set up, certain weapon types are allowed to dominate over others, like scouts, snipers, and hand cannons, and that shouldn't be how that works at all. Part of that is because how lethal those archetypes are anyway, but most of it is because of the golden opportunities Convergence gives to encourage the player to become the best FPS Larry Laner the world has ever seen. The 3 lanes would be better if it wasn't for the perfect symmetry that the map has. There is nothing new to encounter on any part of the map, whether it's your first or 1000th time playing here. There isn't even any places to move left or right in this map for more chase-like fights like you have on maps like Dead Cliffs or Fortress. It's just forward or backward, and for my list and this map, it moved forward to number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have a Anomaly? Oh, Anomaly. God, I can't spell. Anyways, this map it's just too small. 6v6 game modes in here are hectic for all the wrong reasons. Thunder crashes bounce off walls. I'm talking bubbles that take up entire rooms, as do wells. Everyone has a shotgun because it's the only viable weapon here next to sidearms, and some people think this is a good map just because it plays quick. I mean, sure, it's a good map for 3v3 game modes, but you can't tell me it feels good to get flanked by 4 people when you're supposed to be the ankle-breaking shotgun ape because the enemy team can see everything in the next 3 rooms. Even though the map is small, somehow there are still dead zones in it. Who actually makes plays in the generator room? The only time you fight in generator room is to get out of generator room, and most fights happen there anyway because people forget that there is an underneath portion in generator room. I forgot it was there. My teammate fell down it accidentally while creating the reasons behind why this map sucks. The cave tunnel to go around C-Flag via the generator room is also pretty redundant. When is the last time anyone has actually used it? The center of this room is where it's at. That's where B-Flag is, as well as every single player in the Destiny universe, all the bubbles, wells, rifts, and barricades known to man, and the staple of the map, the rotating platforms that no one uses. This is the only map in Destiny where I think the map would have actually worked better in Halo, but even after all that, I would still play on this map rather than our number 1. If Fairy Tale refugees came to this place and pitched tents until things at Lord Farquaad's castle blew over, I would swear that Destiny and Shrek had an undeniable canon crossover. Disjunction is distressing to me every time I load into this map, and it gives me borderline depression when I walk through its empty yet apparently populated halls according to Shaxx. This map, it doesn't look good. It shares the same colors as Vomit, which is what my hunter does when he bounces out of sheer boredom to the B-Flag. Disjunction is disproportionate. If Anomaly is too small, then Disjunction is too big. As the timer and background gameplay shows, it takes 20 seconds to run from the initial spawn to middle, and even longer if you go to capture a zone and control. Disjunction is also doing us a disservice by taking a negative page out of Convergence's book and giving us 3 very tight lanes, one of which doesn't have anything in it, and I mean nothing. There is so much open space out in the swamp that the only time I see people in this lane is in the air in Team Scorched. That's right, the only time people use it is one time in a 3-week rotation, and even then they stay in the air because they don't want their feet to touch this god-awful map. In the 3v3 game modes? Forget it. If you think that Disjunction is great for 3v3 game modes, then you are being dishonest with yourself. Does anybody remember in Season 19 when competitive was a huge thing and Rift came out in Disjunction and you somehow found yourself there, in that game mode, on that map, every time? How many engagements would you have across that entire match? Yeah, you can only count it on one hand. Death is an even further setback, as it not only gives your enemy a distinct advantage from map control at that point, but the respawn isn't towards the middle. Nope! Where is it? Yeah, you guessed it, all the way at the back of the map. By the time you get there, the match is done. What's even worse, Disjunction isn't even an original map. Disjunction is just a reskin of a Destiny 1 map called Frontier, and Frontier was better. This goes to show that Bungie put no originality into this map, no second thought. They just threw it in to get the PvP players off their backs during Witch Queen because it was the first old file that was there, and they didn't care what their players thought about it. I have never liked this map. It is too much open and dead space, it is bland, it is boring, it takes forever to do anything here. I'm pretty sure I'd drive past this place on the way to the Valley of the Disciple, and I wish a fleeting drive-by is all the thought I could give this place. After nearly 3 years of waiting, this is the map that I got? Disjunction is a disappointment. And there we have it. That is my personal top 5 least favorite maps in Destiny 2 PvP. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more of this content. It really helps the channel, and it makes me happy to see what I put up is good fun for you guys. I also stream on Twitch and on here, so if you want to watch me struggle with some average gameplay, I'll link it in the description. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and take care of yourselves.